Today on Monkey Life, rescued youngsters Vang and Hoi are introduced to a big sister who can teach them how to become wild gibbons.
What they can get from Calais is a big, brave sister who will fight for them, always be close. And this is the perfect first step to achieving that.
And Linn the loris has a big night out.
He's taken his major step back to where he belongs. Absolutely brilliant.
This is Dao Tien Rescue Centre in Vietnam. It's the sister sanctuary of Monkey World in Dorset, and the staff here dedicate their lives to rescuing and rehabilitating endangered Vietnamese primates.
It's a new forest with a new family group of gibbons coming, and hopefully everybody will grow up and mature together.
It's a 6,000-mile journey from the UK to the centre, which lies 160 miles northeast of the capital, Ho Chi Minh City. It's early morning on Dao Tien Island, and the golden-cheeked gibbons are in full voice. For all the staff here, it's a busy time. Dao Tien has 30 gibbons that need constant care and attention, and the morning feed is no exception. The gibbons are separated into two different areas. The Phase 1 animals are kept in secure enclosures. These are gibbons in the process of rehabilitation, or who will never be fit or well enough for release into the wild. The rest of the gibbons live in semi-wild areas on the island.
This area, our semi-forested enclosure, is a Phase 2, so it's an enclosed patch of trees. It's got a 400-metre electric fence round. And the trees are cut back, so they can't escape, but it means that they can sleep in the trees, they can travel in the trees, they can do huge leaps, all these skills that they need to get before they're fit to go back into the true forest.
There are 4 forested enclosures for the gibbons on Dao Tien, 3 small ones around 4 hectares in size, and 1 large 20-hectare site.
This is actually a similar size to a wild home range. And this is where they can function as normal gibbons. The only problem is it's very, very damaged forest. There isn't enough fruit trees, as you would find in the wild. There's not enough ficus. So although they can travel the same kind of area, we provide extra fruit for them just to make this match what the wild would give them. This is the perfect place just to finish off their final education until we go for the next release.
Currently, there are 2 groups of golden-cheeked gibbons living in the semi-wild forested areas on Dao Tien. One of these is a family group of 3. Linn Mu, an adult male, Mu Su, an adult female, and youngster Savvy. Linn Mu and Mu Su have had an eventful few years. They were some of the first gibbons to arrive on Dao Tien, and after being successfully rehabilitated in the semi-wild area, were ready to be released together back into the wild. A suitable range was found in Cat Tien National Park, and both gibbons took to the trees. But before long, a wild male golden-cheeked gibbon arrived on their patch. Linn Mu was chased and attacked by the new male and fell from the high tree canopy, and afterwards stayed low to the ground. The wild male was seeking a mate, and Mu Su went with him. The team managed to recapture Linn Mu and took him back to Dao Tien. But just a few months later, after being tracked by her radio collar, Mu Su was found unwell and on her own, with no male companion. She was recaptured and brought back to the centre, where the pair were reunited. They've since had a baby girl, and Mu Su's pregnant once again. It's been a learning curve for everyone involved.
Since then, they've got a little bit older, they've got a little bit wiser, they've started their own family, and now they're in a very, very strong position for release. And we're also a lot wiser. We now know the amount of space you need to reintroduce gibbons, it has to be 4 times the potential home range area that they want. That way, any distant neighbouring groups who have an opinions, there's space for everyone. But we are learning gibbon introductions are really, really tough. And we just have to keep going, collecting as much data as possible and always looking after each and every gibbon to make sure that they get the best opportunity and get the best supportive care if needed.
And it's not just adult gibbons that need this support. Just over 6 months ago, the centre rescued 2 infants, Hoi and Vang. Hoi's a juvenile young male gibbon about 18 months old. He was transferred from a neighbouring national park where he was rescued and hand-reared. But they didn't have the correct facilities or expertise to look after him. Vang is a young female gibbon, just 8 months old. She'd also been hand-reared from a baby when her mum rejected her. Vang's start in life was far from rosy. She was kept in a small ice cream box and on arrival at Dao Tien was in a much worse mental state than Hoi. But 6 months on, the change in Vang is remarkable and she adores her adopted brother.
This little team are ready to meet an adult gibbon because that's what they want. At the moment, you can see them reaching out to us for attention, for interaction, for education, and we can't give them that. The only person who can give them that, or animal, is an adult gibbon. And we have a lovely, lovely female adult gibbon lined up for them. And they're as ready as they'll ever be.
And so today, Lee, with the help of 2 Dao Tien keepers, is going to collect Calais, an 8-year-old female. She's in a holding cage on the edge of the semi-wild area. She's just going through her 2nd colour change, so is predominantly black, but will soon be blonde like all adult females. She was confiscated by the Forestry Protection Department and came to Dao Tien 6 years ago. She spent the last 4 years living with other gibbons in the trees of the semi-wild area, so the team are hoping this experience will make her an ideal surrogate sister to look after and tutor Hoi and Vang.
We're going to transport her down to cage 5, next door to Vang and Hoi. We'll assess how they are together and then potentially tomorrow do the introductions. But we need to play it by ear. We need to see how the 2 youngsters react to Calais, which is the most important thing for us.
With the travelling crates secured, it's just a matter of time and patience to see if Calais can be tempted into the box by the fruit inside. But she's wary. She knows something's different and keeps one hand on the cage at all times as she reaches in for the fruit. After what seems like an age, she has the confidence and courage to go right inside the box.
I was about to call and say, look, let's push her in with the net. You know, it was getting to a point, I need to get a move on. But then she started coming in, so she'd reach as far as she could reach, and she took a piece of fruit and off she goes. Not a problem. On the 3rd time, she went in. And there you go. A lot of people try and do it on the 1st attempt. Big no. In my books, it's a big no. Let them go in, let them go out. Then they relax, and there you go, job done. So let's get it down to cage 5.
Calais is now safe and secure in the crate and on her way over to meet young gibbons Hoi and Vang. If the 2 little ones are ever going to have a chance of surviving in the wild, it's imperative they socialise with other gibbons and have less human contact. Having an older surrogate sister to show them the ropes could help them achieve this, and the next big step after that would be to release them all into the semi-wild area. With everything set, Lee wastes no time opening the crate. And Calais is out like a shot, straight up high where gibbons feel safest. Hoi shows no signs of nervousness and is straight over to check out the new neighbour. Calais seems to be taking a keen interest in the two youngsters. Vang is curious too, but looks on from the safety blanket of her hammock. Lee's delighted with how things have gone today.
Brilliant, absolutely brilliant. It's nice and calm. There's been no aggressive calls from Calais. She's come across, she's interacted, she's sniffed. She's sat at the mesh now, she's watching calmly. That's all good news. Fingers crossed, it stays as it is, and we can move forward tomorrow.
Today may have gone well, but Marina knows that time is of the essence for Hoi and Vang.
What we do in the next 6 months will decide their future. We so have to try and get them in the trees, and the humans taking a big step back. And any social interaction, any support that they need, they go to that adult female gibbon for it. And that has to happen now, otherwise Hoi and Vang will never see the forest, the wild forest again.
But for now, all the signs are good. At Dorset, the centre's main objective is the successful rehabilitation and release of rescued primates back into the wild. It takes a lot of hard work and dedication from the staff to get them ready. Many of the primates that arrive on the island have been saved from squalid conditions and have big underlying health issues as a result. One such individual is Pedro the loris. He was confiscated by the environmental police in Ho Chi Minh City and brought in a week ago with severe damage to his left leg. He was caught in a hunter's snare, and Marina's so concerned that she's called in a specialist vet to take a look. Savvy is from Ping Tung Rescue Centre in Taiwan. They have collaborated with Dorset for many years.
For the last week, we've had him on antibiotics and anti-inflammatories, just trying to see if we can save this leg. But I don't think we can. He doesn't have that much use left in it. It's going to hinder him more than help him. The only thing that makes it kind of all right is the fact that we know we can release three-legged loris. So if this amputation goes okay and he recovers well, he still has a chance to be a normal loris. So although it's awful, we know we can get him back to where he belongs.
After a thorough examination by vet Savvy, she confirms what Marina suspected. Injuries so bad, the only option is amputation.
Here's the bone here. So we are going to do the surgical cut from here to make sure the infection site won't be close to the surgical wound. It's not a difficult procedure, but I'm worried about the bleeding because it has a big vessel behind the leg. So we do it slowly to make sure it's not too many blood lost.
It's tragic to think that until recently, this tiny loris was fully fit and living in the wild.
We estimate, based on the police data, that 3 weeks ago he was still running around the forests of Canhua province, and now he's here losing a leg, skinny, in quite bad shape.
Savvy's taking her time making sure every part of the procedure is done perfectly. It's important that Pedro heals quickly.
Loris are so sensitive, they don't like, even when scabs are building and it's irritating and itchy, this just triggers the loris to keep on scratching, and they create huge holes in themselves by just any irritation. So a little bit of medication, and the challenge is on then just for him to leave it alone.
The operation's been a success, although for the next 48 hours, Pedro will have to be constantly monitored as he recovers from the major surgery. But for now, he's placed back in his box on top of a hot water bottle to keep him warm until the anaesthetic wears off.
Pedro, minus his back leg, is doing very well. He's just starting to move, but he's going to be groggy for quite a while. He put up quite a fight, so he had lots of anaesthetic. So he just needs to sleep it off. So it's our job now to get him fit and to assess him in a nice large enclosure, how good he is at hunting and how good he is at travelling. But I think 3 legs, he can still do it.
Also currently under assessment by Marina are Vang and Hoi. For the last 24 hours, they've been getting used to an older female gibbon, Calais, living next door. The hope is that all 3 will get on, and Calais will be able to show the 2 youngsters the ropes when, in the future, they get released into a semi-wild area on the island. But more immediately, Lee is about to open the slide between the 2 cages so that the 3 can meet face to face. Hoi shows no sign of nerves and goes straight in to meet his new big sister. Vang's a bit more tentative and prefers to keep her options open. But older female Callie's a lot more confident and is keen to check out the 2 youngsters.
This is a perfect gibbon introduction. The quiet ones are always the best. But most importantly, Hoi has full points. He's been quite laid back. And then secondly, he's giving little Vang lots of attention. He's playing, he's always going close to her, so she's remaining really strong. So this is, couldn't ask for anything better. Because they will never get a mum that they can hold on to. That part of their lives is gone. But what they can get from Calais is a big, brave sister who will fight for them, always be close. And this is the perfect first step to achieving that.
It's early days, and in the coming weeks, the team will gradually increase the length of time the 3 spend together. But for now, Hoi and Vang seem quite happy with a new older sister to play with. At Dao Tien, all primates that are scheduled for release are fitted with a radio collar. It enables the team to keep a track of their movements in the wild so they can monitor their health and well-being in the early months after release. This afternoon, Lee and keeper Feng are heading into Cat Tien National Park, where they're going to release a 3-year-old male pygmy loris called Linn into the wild. 4 months ago, he was confiscated from a hunter and sent to Dao Tien for rehabilitation. For the last 2 days and nights, Linn has spent his time in a release cage, getting used to the sights and sounds of the forest.
Confident about the release. Whether he'll come out as we open the door, I don't know. We'll stay there about an hour. If not, we'll pull away. Tomorrow morning, Mr. Bin or Mr. Kang will come out with the radio tracker and try and find the sleep site. So we've got to keep it quiet so that he comes out.
It's the middle of the rainy season in Vietnam, and the truck can only go so far. It's now a 3-mile trek through the forest to the release site. The area has been thoroughly assessed by the team and deemed as a suitable site for pygmy loris to make a new home. Just as important is that it's close by a Kim Lam ranger station, the custodians of the park, who will protect Linn from hunters and poachers. But when they arrive, for an anxious moment, Lee can't spot Linn. Loris are tiny animals, weighing no more than 350 grams. During the day, they curl up to sleep in tree hollows and the tree canopy, where they're well hidden and camouflaged. After a few seconds, Lee spots Linn near the top of the cage.
He's up high, which is good. OK. Keep an eye on him, and when it goes dark, we'll let him out.
It's now a waiting game. The optimum time to release Linn is at night. This is when these nocturnal primates are at their most active, feeding on insects and gum.
It's vitally important that we rehabilitate, get them back into the wild, get them off the streets, get them out of people's homes as pets. It's not what they are, you know. They're a prosimian. Get them back in the forest where they belong. And Cat Tien is helping Dao Tien achieve that goal.
Linn is now fully awake. Mr. Kang, a Kim Lam ranger working at Dao Tien, is quietly going to open the slide of the release cage. Lee's keeping well back from the sight so as not to disturb or frighten Linn. He's able to watch the whole thing on a laptop via an infrared camera. The slide is open. It's now up to Linn to seize his chance.
He's actually coming across to the slide. So he's being very sensitive, very careful. Not quite sure, which is all very good. He hasn't gone out like a bullet. He's taken the time. He's now going to take that next step. He's up for the slide. He's looking around still. This is amazing. There he goes, gone. That's absolutely brilliant. He's out, took his time, took in his surroundings, off he went. That's just absolutely awesome. You know, we've done this so many times, but to actually see that is just, you know, a massive achievement. We've got him back to weight, got him back to good condition, and he's taken his major step back to where he belongs. Absolutely brilliant.
Next time on Monkey Life, we're back at the park, where it's all changed for the Gibbons as the care team prepare to form a new all-male group.
Theo, come here. James. Gently. Yep, you got him. Good boy.
And bedtime for Hananya's chimps. But little Thelma just wants to play.